Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Talking Fever. Today I'm in a beautiful cemetery, and I'm enjoying this lovely sunshine. If you believe it or not, it was hailing last week, so I had the day off and I decided to enjoy this. And I also brought my cat, Magic, as you've already seen. But currently she's hiding in her carrier. At this point, the only attachment that I have left to my ex person is an ego attachment. So what does that mean exactly? It means that my sense of self-worth is tied up, or has been tied up, in this person's acceptance and want of me. I think everybody really knows things. It's just whether we want to accept it or not. We know when somebody isn't necessarily good or right for us, but we don't want to accept it because we don't trust that. We don't trust ourselves. We think we could be wrong, or we don't know enough, or maybe we don't have the experience. And I think I didn't have the experience, which is why I went through this whole relationship. And only in the end of that relationship did I genuinely see the person that I was. The way that I see myself became so much clearer, and I genuinely saw who I was, unfortunately, in contrast to who this person made themselves out to be. But even still, there was this chain, it felt like, still wrapped around getting their validation because it was withheld from me so severely. And if you're in that situation with anybody in your life, with your peers, with your parents, with your partners, I've experienced all three. They all wanted to control how I move in the world. And I unfortunately was relentlessly criticized and judged, even though genuinely I've never ever tried to act in a way that was hurtful or unjust. I've always tried to be as straightforward and honest as I can, as much as it does hurt sometimes. I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt. It's hurt me as well, but what I found is the people that truly love you and care about you and support you are always going to be happy for you when you're happy. They're going to be excited for you when you're excited, and they're not going to try to drag you down. They're not going to tell you that you're a fuck up. You know what I mean? They might tell you when you're fucking up. If they're a good friend, they will, because they love you and they want you to do what's best. That's the whole point. They're not going to try to control how you do things because that would benefit them. They want you to do you because it benefits you, and they want you to be the best you can be and to be happy. And if you're anything like myself, you have this abundance of love to give to people, like on ready, on hand, and if you're also like myself, you've probably unfortunately given that to people who didn't know how to take care of it, or weren't able to because of their own mental status, their own lifestyle, their own level of awareness and understanding. I think that's one of the hardest things to do, is to learn when you have this full bucket of love ready to give and wanting to give, that you can't always give it, or you need to ration how much you give to certain people. You kind of have to teach how to appreciate your care, your intention, your support, and your willingness to give or love. And that's a personal responsibility, as much as we may not like to accept that. I like to believe that people are genuinely, at least deep down, good, and they want good things. I think certain people have been through a lot of experiences and unfortunately made the worser choice, the unhelpful choice. And the more you do that, the more it kind of compounds into your abilities to do the right thing for yourself and others. But nevertheless, everybody, I'd like to think, is just trying their best. And I think everybody still deserves love, but also everyone has to take responsibility for themselves. And I know, coming from a place of anxiety and depression, that's one of the most overwhelming and anxiety and depressive inducing concepts, because when you're in that state, you already feel so helpless, so worthless, because it's not like you don't know you have to take responsibility for yourself, but you're already punishing yourself for not doing anything, for not being more, for not being like these other people, for not trying, for not just doing the thing when you know you could be, but inside you just feel so helpless. You feel unmotivated, you feel unhappy, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and you don't trust yourself. You're not even sure what to do or how to do it. So it repeats in this cycle, and it just brings you further and further down. And then when you think about how you need to take responsibility for your life, you feel unprepared and incapable. And that can kind of send you down a worser path. It makes you spiral even more sometimes. And the only thing I can really say is to just keep trying. And more importantly, take really small steps and celebrate those small steps. Acknowledge them. People think you gotta do big things and know everything. You don't. As time goes on, things build up. Those small little steps add up in whatever you do. Whether you're working on your mental health, whether you're trying to build a business, because everybody's trying to build a business, or working on a project, or literally anything. You're building a house. But it's really important to understand that. And I think it's difficult to do that in this day and age, because immediate satisfaction is kind of a plague. I've just come to find that good things are made slowly. Everything. They're made slowly, intentionally, with, every little bit of effort. And they're made in a way that doesn't cross your boundaries, at least not to an extent that is harmful to you. Because I also think we need to challenge ourselves as well. There are situations in my life where if I gave up, I would not have accomplished what I ended up accomplishing. I would not have the certain skills that I have now to be able to speak to people, to be able to do this right now, to put myself out there, to not feel anxious, to be able to move through my depression and above it and over it, to handle life. I've also changed my mindset to seeing and believing that all things in my life are happening for my greatest good. And instead of seeing challenges or problems as negative things, I see them as ways to grow. I accept the challenge, and I always try to get something out of every situation, because that only helps me, it only informs me, and after I do better. Hopefully you'll be able to see how that's come true for yourself, even in the smallest of ways, when you actually give things a chance, when you accept that challenge, when you decided to take a risk. Sometimes we can take risks and they don't work out, but that's not to say that you failed. That's something to look into to see, is there something I can learn from this? Maybe there is a mistake that you made, or maybe what you thought you wanted wasn't actually the right thing, or wouldn't actually bring you the fulfillment that you thought, if you accept it for the reality of what it is. And I think ego still ties into all this, especially in accepting reality. Things take effort, things take care, and things sometimes take you to put down your ego in order to learn, to accept that maybe you did do something wrong or hurtful, or you could improve somehow. But I also think the ego isn't all bad. I think it's a tool that we need to utilize that helps us be human. I think we're more than that, and I don't think we should be existing from our ego. The ego should not be at the driver's seat of our body and our minds, but it should be a loyal defender. It should be a supporter. It should help you acknowledge your worth and decipher when you are being treated unfairly, and when you are deserving of the things that you really want in this life. If something doesn't feel right, don't force yourself to believe it, to accept it. If you're still questioning something, stay questioning it until you understand it. Try not to drive yourself crazy. And that's hard to do when you think a lot. But I think thinking is a beautiful thing. And it will add to your wealth of knowledge. It will add to your life. And sure, sometimes we need to put down our brains and relax. But that's balance, and everything is balance. And I guess life is just about finding that balance between everything. But that's all I'm gonna say. Thank you for watching this and hanging out this long. If you did, really appreciate it. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Hope you think about your life and the things you want. I hope you celebrate the small wins that you had, and you decide to take those small steps to go a little further. And you might be surprised how things work out. So, thanks for listening, and have a good day.